This is iRacing.
After last week, Martin is now the only driver with the safety net of drop weeks in his pocket. With only 3 rounds to go, Snetterton may prove a crucial piece in the championship puzzle as we get ready for round 10 of the Skip Barber Race Series. You'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing channel. I am Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Craig King. Behind the scenes is our director, Christian Duploy, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Craig, Snetterton is one of those tracks that doesn't look special on paper, but proves to be a lot more fun when you get down on the pavement.
Do you know, I find it's basically like a unicorn in Britain. It's just one of these tracks that people don't drive, but in my opinion, it's one of the best tracks, and we're using the best layout today, the full circuit around here tonight.
Indeed, and Snetterton is like many British circuits. It's having airfield routes, so let's get a closer look at it with our track guide. Welcome to Snetterton Circuit. Like many British tracks that were born shortly after World War II, this venue was made out of an old military airfield. It's a mere 30 minutes drive from Norwich and offers up 3 different layouts of varying lengths. This means the track is easily able to host international, regional, and club-level racing. Previously rather simple, the circuit's most recent update in 2011 introduced a twisty infield section. Still, it's mainly punctuated by 2 very long straights, the Senna Straight, where the pits are located, and the Bentley Straight, which acts as the backstretch. As you'd expect for a track born out of an airfield, there's little in the way of elevation change. However, the one spot in which you do find some undulation, it really stands out. The bomb hole dips cars down in the middle of a quick right-hand kink, causing them to have to keep a heads up lest they lose the car. The track is not without character though. Rich's is very swift for a first turn and includes 2 distinct apexes. There's also the combination of Brundle and Nelson, which forces drivers to turn hard while braking. Never an easy combination to manage. The long sweeping run through Coram down into Murray's can also be quite tricky. The car will want to drift out, forcing a shallow entry into the final left-hander. But failing to give yourself a good exit will leave you vulnerable to attack down the pit straight. Perhaps not as famous as some other British circuits, this place is a bit of a hidden gem in the UK motorsport scene. Fans who get to witness racing here certainly seem likely to return. Talk about this being the best layout. It's definitely the most technical of the 3 you can choose here on iRacing.
Yeah, and I actually think while it is more technical, it does open up for a little bit more of an easier time on the track. Because if you were to drive the 200 layout, Montreal there, which is now called Wilson, that is actually would usually just go straight to where Williams is on the 200 layout. So it allows you to have a bit more of a move around turn 2 to set yourself up for Palmer, which is turn 3, all the way down to this really tight infield section at 5 and 6. That's Hamilton and Oggies before you come back to Williams. That is where it comes because it's the only part of the track, apart from the bomb hole, where you've got an elevation change on the track. So the drivers will be looking to do a lot of sliding, keep that balance going, keep everything clean. And the best thing about this track that I love, every corner is, apart from a couple, as you can tell, is named after a racing driver. It is a true, as true can be, British track. Let's get your tea and crumpets ready.
That's for sure. And let's take a look at the championship before we focus on the drivers and the famous names that we have out there. Martin, as I mentioned, is currently leading only 4 points over Adam Miles. But as I said, Miguel is the only driver that has some pocket points right now. Everybody else has either missed races or had a DNF out there. And so it's a bunch of zeros in the drop weeks. Which means that with 3 rounds left, Miguel is sitting quite pretty right now in comparison to a lot of his rivals. I think the gap, if you don't count the drop weeks, is somewhere in the realm of about 60 points, and it's 30 for a win. So it is going to be very important for him to have a good finish today to continue to keep himself well clear of his rivals. However, let's take a quick look at the race details in the meantime.
Yeah, well, as we were saying, we're coming to the end of the season, round 10 of 12, and it's going to be 11 laps around this track tonight, and that's going to be good for the drivers for a bit of time because it's open setup, so use what iRacing provides, use something you've made, or use something the community make. But if you crash, you gotta go back to the pits and get your spare car. It's like the old days of F1. So you have that, but if you've got a spare car, that means we're on D series, which means it's a disqualification at 17X. And I'll tell you what, Joe, this is a track where if you're not too careful, you can push a bit too far and get an off track around here.
Exactly, which is going to make qualifying a little bit tricky out there. So drivers will want that track position. You can make overtakes here, but as we get to very foggy pictures from above, it can be difficult considering some of the corners have very awkward entries. A small correction for myself, it's 35 points for a win, not 30. Still, point remains that it is going to be important that Miguel get a good finish today, because that could be very close or potentially just simply lock things up after this week. Josephine Becker still looking for her first lap time as she sends it into Riches. This is down towards Wilson now. This is definitely one of the places where you can expect to see a lot of passes today Craig.
Yeah, like I said, you can just see there, because we're not going on into that Chapman corner straight to the Bentley Straight. You've got a bit of tarmac to work with there. Now we go into the medium speed Palmer here, named after, of course, Jonathan Palmer, and then down this hill. The only bit of elevation change you would get around the track before you come just there on the corner there. This is a classic British track. All the corner names have got right on the side of the corner there. There's Agostini there coming around, and look how much that Josephine has to work. And then the quick section here, quick left-hander into Hamilton, get on the brakes early enough to get around Oggies, and then it's very tight. And when you're in a high-speed car here, Joe, you don't have a lot of time to play around on those before you come to Williams. You've got to be really careful. And then Williams, flat out, a lot of runoff there to really just get on the throttle as early as you want. A bit of a rest now down the Bentley Straight.
This is definitely one of the other portions where it's long enough we may see a bit of slipstreaming, but passing at the end of it, this is where it gets interesting. I talked about those awkward entries. Brundle, a big curve. You can hear the lift and the downshift from Becker before you have to slam on the brakes in an Elson. Sharp right-hander. It's tough to pass there. This is the infamous bomb hole where the car will dip and compress in the middle of it. Doesn't look like it's as much of a problem here for these skippies, since they aren't as quick as some cars that race at this track.
No, but you still have to. One of the things of the bomb hole is she comes now through Murray's, of course, named after Murray Walker. It's one of those corners where you have to commit to braking there, because that is one of the benefits of having that corner. As Boma takes the pole position early on, as Josephine's going to come across the line with 2:07.7, so not a bad first lap. But the key thing here, we always talk about this, the bomb hole. We're having this chat beforehand. It's not named after a World War II bomb or something like that. It is literally just a design mistake by some contractors that the owners of Snetterton went, yeah, we'll keep it in. And it's just been an iconic part of the track ever since.
It does provide a nice little challenge on the way into Coram, which is such a long right-hander. You don't want to get the car out of sorts on your way in, because you need it nice and steady. Bomer is our fastest qualifier as it stands now, but we're still waiting on times from Tito, Otuga, two very fast drivers. Miles, interestingly, only sitting third and about a quarter of a second off the pole time, but sometimes that second lap gets the tires a bit more warmed up, and that could change things.
Yeah, Vlado Tito did not have a valid lap there. He's only got one to go. Here is Martin, Miguel Quinta Martin, currently in fourth position on his final lap, and he comes around Williams, and look at all the runoff there. They actually increased the AstroTurf in there. I think it's almost a nature to modern day racing. They keep adding AstroTurf there because they know that the drivers want to go a little bit faster. They want a little bit of safety. But the thing is that we talk about the straight here at the Bentley Straight. As you come down into Brundle and then Nelson, we have seen overtakes here before. Now, it is doable, but it is so tight. But going into Brundle, it is risk reward. And if we see it, Joe, I'm going to say we see it in like the last 4 laps maybe, as Martin now comes around to really hug the inside. And again, a nature of the Skip Barbers, they're hugging the inside here through Coram, hard into Murray's. Make sure you don't hit that curve. I think he got a bit too wide, like more runoff there, a little bit of an elevation on the side. Hopefully, he can find half a second to get up to the top, but I don't think he's going to be able to find it. He's going to come across the line with a 6.45. Almost got it.
About a tenth off of Raphael, but not quite there. Adam Miles on his second lap around now comes into Murray's and stays off the inside curb a little bit. Will that cost him some time? He's already slipped down to 5th. From our pole time, which has changed to Pilotman, Sampson, now your quickest by 0.3 of a second, a huge gap compared to before, but crossing the line at 2:06.324. That's going to jump Adam Miles up into P2. Otuga also quicker than Raphael. It is a quickly shuffling top of the order.
Pilotman, where did he come from? Where did Sampson come from? What has Vlado got? What has he got? The number 3 car. He wants to do it. Then an interesting line he took there. What, same to what Miles took, really. So he's going to hopefully try and get it. He's got no time. So 2:06.553. It's only good for 5th. He just misses out on that second row with almost an identical time to Raphael there in 4th. But that's going to be a big difference being on the 3rd row compared to the 2nd row. What can Heike 360 do? Javier Sanchez comes across the line. Really good improvement. It's going to bump him up to 11.
Nicely done. Suarez is our next car, but he doesn't have enough time to get to the finish as the clock hits 0 and qualifying is now over. That means our grid is set for today's race, and Samson Pilotman pulls an upset and takes the pole away from Adam Miles. Daniel Otuga will wind up in 3rd with Bomer briefly on that top spot, shuffled down to 4th. It's Tito starting from 5th. Martin only 6th today. Philip Burke as well, unusually far down for him in 7th. Jesus Cabal starts 8th. Hoglar in 9th, and Otero will round out your top 10.
To the second page, and Javier Sanchez, we just saw, was 11th. Ricardo Esmanella Martinez will be 12th, with Mark Milsard in 13th. Josephine Becker will be 14th, with Raul Roches Guardia in 15th. Santiago Yaturia will be in 16th, with Dennis Johansson in 17th. Egwitz Ballard will be 18th, with Herman Suarez, the last of the time qualified. David Kennedy not setting a lap time to round out 20 cars.
Only driver to miss out on a lap time here. Good to see that everybody else able to set something representative for themselves. We are waiting a bit for them to line up. I wonder if the fog and the cooler temperatures mean drivers want to keep the tires a bit warmer. I don't think they have tire warmers on these machines, so that might not be the case as it is. Anyways, regardless, they're giving it quite a bit of time before the rest of them are out on the grid. So those that plopped down early are having to sit and wait. As there we see the temperatures only 20 Celsius or 68 Fahrenheit on the track, with it being so foggy and overcast today and quite windy, which is surprising with the fog at 13 to 15 miles an hour we're seeing on the circuit. These are light cars that could play in effect on them. Looks like we're only waiting on Ballard, and now as he finds himself on the grid, the engines begin to rev, the lights come up. We're here for round 10 of the season, and who will come away with a checkered flag? The green flag is out, and Pilotman is off, but he's already being hunted by Miles, who gets a good start and slots in behind him to try to pick up the slipstream down into Riches. He's actually going to take the inside away as they approach the corner, almost looking like we got a 2 wide behind them between Raphael and Otuga. Will they sort that out as Pilotman and Miles try to figure out who is first into Wilson? Miles has the inside, and he's trying to edge out his competitor. He just manages to sneak through.
Just manages to sneak through, and Martin almost causing a bit of an incident in the middle there down into Wilson. They all just bunched up a little bit. I think Raphael Bowman had a little bit of a moment out there. So you can expect the top 7 keeping it clean, and more drivers just trying to get their way through. Jesus Cabal trying to work his way back up, as is Javier Sanchez. The biggest gainer at the start of this race. Martinez up 3 from the start, but he's in danger right now. There he is, losing a place to Sanchez. Everybody on the start kept it pretty clean and got straight into single file. It was just the back, everyone trying to find their way through.
And to my surprise, Pilotman managed to get back through at Palmer. So Adam Miles maybe not covering as good as he should have once he had gotten fully by. They're onto the back stretch already, down the Bentley straight, with Adam pulling the tow as we check in behind them, and it looks like it's going to be battles all up and down in these early stages. Drivers using that slipstream to try and sneak on through. Miles does get a nose ahead, as you can see at the top of the screen. And as they slide into Nelson, he is back to our lead. We got an accident as two cars absolutely tangled. Vlado Tito with a huge fly over his rival down into Nelson.
Yeah, Rafael Boma tried to make that move into Brundle. Remember I said it was going to be very tough to make that move. He tried his best, but he slid out too much that he collided with Vlado there, and they both just ended up together. And Vlado decided that he was going to use Rafael's car as a little bit of a surfboard. It's a very loose set for Boma as we're watching the leaders once again continue on by. And we expected this sort of battle, but we expected a few more cars to be in this battle. Quite interesting how they've both gone together. Kennedy into the pit. Boma not taking to the pits after that. Vlado Tito with a tow. So already we're down a couple cars.
Yeah, Pilotman making it look easy. So the slipstream, one of my questions coming into this is how big is it going to be on those straightaways? It looks like it is relatively powerful as there's a lot of swapping back and forth already. A bit unusual there for David Kennedy. I'm not sure why he got a black flag. It may have been for a jump start, but I can't seem to find it on the replay. So we watch Martin here in quite a bit of a battle here, currently sitting in 5th position. He's in front of Hoglar and Sanchez, as well as Martinez, as they work their way out of Augustini in the infield.
Yeah, and the problem there with Hoglar was he wanted to not have that side-by-side battle with Martin, knew to try and keep up with Philip Burt because they're all losing time to the top 3 right now. But the moment he lifted, he put himself too wide for Goskini, and Javier just decided, I'm taking that spot, and you can't blame him. The door was left so wide open. I wonder if it was a barn door there from Hoglar, because that was just not what he wanted, but he's in the slipstream, and look at that timing tower, ladies and gentlemen. 1.8 seconds between Philip Burke and Otuga. That crash caused a big shake-up in this field, and I don't think some drivers are happy about it. Jesus Cabal, he looks pretty happy. That's Otero, sorry. That's how you make a move into Nelson.
Meanwhile, Guardia and Becker go wheel to wheel and manage to come out the other side. That's impressive down through Nelson and Brundle. Down through the bomb hole into Decorum. They'll get single file, and that is Mark Mifsud, who is sitting in behind them trying to battle for that 11th spot. But maybe they're all just waiting for the run onto the main straight. Let's take a look at what happened to Bomer here, as he just got a little bit wide. Tito and he started to touch, and then from there, open wheelers, it is always tough as soon as the wheels connect.
Yeah, you can understand now why modern-day F1 cars or modern-day open wheelers, they've got a halo just for a moment like that. Almost a move there from Jesus Cabal behind. Boma's trying to make a little bit of a recovery drive here, and Raphael's going to try and go around the outside of Riches. Well, it's Riches or Rags. Oh, the other way around. And he almost just gets hit on the side there. I believe that was Suarez or Ballard, one of the drivers. No, it's Yataria, who actually just got a bit too hot into the brakes there. And I think there was a little bit of panic there, because the inside can work well at Wilson's, Joe. It just didn't work for him, and he panicked a little bit.
Yeah, I kind of expected we get some tangles like that in that corner. It's so slow through there, and everybody's going to be very eager. Well, we thought it was going to be between Samson and Adam, but now Daniel has joined the fray. It is a top 3 battle for the win. Out of Augies and into Williams they go, trying to set up for the run off the corner. Who is going to try and battle in these early stages, or are they going to wait until the end now that they've separated themselves from 4th place? Burke, there's a little bit of a poke from the number 1. Miles says, yeah, I think it's worth swapping positions just a little bit more in these early stages, and he's back to the point.
And Atuga behind realizes this. And I don't know if Samson's going to realize this, because he's not one of these regulars on a Thursday night, or regulars in these broadcast races per se. So he probably understands a slipstream battle just due to the nature of the driver he is. Don't know if he realizes this is the best way to go, because it's faster right now. Just to allow that, don't battle. You've got that 2.5 second buffer. but you'd be able to extend it even more because Philip Burke is not doing any time under 2:08. These drivers in the front were all doing sub 2:08s last time. You may see another purple as the leaders do another change. And yeah, no surprise there. More fastest laps as Sampson goes faster than Miles retakes it. And you can just start to see another switchover. This is fine, Joe. This is fast because right behind them, there's a little bit of battle brewing.
I was kind of noticing that too. Philip Burke, Martin Sanchez have all been kind of tangling for those spots. But as they break coming into Wilson, are we going to be clean through it this time? Hoglar giving watch from behind, unable to capitalize on them. Burke remains ahead, but Martin is on the inside of Sanchez down into Palmer, having to eventually give way to Miguel, with that being a shorter distance. What about the heavy braking into Agostini? We can see passes into here, but it looks like there's going to be a lot of defense, although long way around here from Sanchez. I thought for a second he might have a shot at that.
I thought Martin would have had a shot around the outside, but decided against it to come into Hamilton. That's very wide there for Martin and for Burke, sorry, and just everyone just checking up a little bit. Little 5-car battle here. Battles on battles on battles, which is nice to see. And there's only really one driver, two drivers racing on their own. So these battles are so crucial because they work together, they get going, and I do wonder if this is going to make a move here at the front of the field. There's another change. Here's Adam Miles retaking the lead in the same place he did before. We'll keep our eyes on that in a bit, Joe, because this feels a little bit like Phillip Island again. A little bit of chess. It's too much of a rhythm at the moment. Something's got to give.
Well, and Miles and Pilotman have been consistently swapping the same corners, essentially. So I get a feeling, since we're at a former air base, that this is a bit of formation flying from the top group, and they'll just kind of stay in position until we get down to the end. We're already on lap 4 out of only 11, since it is so long around this circuit. But we're going to continue to watch Burke leading Martin, behind him Sanchez, the next car in line, Hoglar, and then Martinez down to 8th spot.
And once again, rinse and repeat. Sampson retakes the lead and everything goes on. In the background, you can see here on the main picture that Burke took a really wide line to almost just say, don't slipstream me. Well, okay, don't slipstream, but you were a second and a half slower to the top 3 right now. So you're going to have to probably work on something here to make some moves around here. And here comes Raphael as well, looking to make some moves. Already past Raul Rocha's Guardia. Jesus Cabal right ahead and gets on by as they make some moves. I saw Josephine Becker losing out to Dennis Johansson. It's the standard for Skip Barbers, and when you think about it, they've got 2-3 straights here to really make the moves, and if you don't get it done on that second straight, you then got that mini straight up to Palmer, which some of these drivers have been doing, to just solidify that overtake.
Palmer going to be probably annoyed at that early incident, because it does seem like he's quick and he's making up positions. He's still in 10th, so he's got some work to do, but he's got a few along the way in these couple laps back running. This is Becker versus Johansson for 12th position. Just too short of a straight down at Augie's. No point in trying anything into that tight right-hander. Got to set yourself up for the run out of Williams, and she is much tighter the apex than Johansson is on the way in. This sets her up well. She's going to use that slipstream as they start to get over 105, 110 miles an hour, picking up speed. She starts to slow it down a little bit, so she's not interested in passing with Dennis. She's working with him.
Yeah, and I think as well she might have been a bit too far. Big incident in front of him, though, 3 wide, just coming out of Nelson. And that is Raul Rogers, Guardia, Martinez, and Bowman. Sorry, Jesus Cabal, Guardia, and Bowman, as they're all just having a little bit of a battle. And Bowman still just trying to get those tires just as tight as he can. A bit too wide, but this has allowed all of these drivers to now bunch up a little bit. They're fighting a bit too much. Keeping as well that last lap. No overtakes on the Bentley straight. Miles only getting the lead now. In fact, there is the battle as we look for this as well. Shout out again to the director, because there is so much happening right now, Joe, on such a quick track.
Indeed, and yeah, that one little fight has really mixed it up here in this group on the main screen. Watching on board from Becker, still heading down into Wilson. Late move down to the inside from Guardia, trying to defend. That'll keep him on the inside of Balmer as well. And as he almost gets the job done, the fight, once again, as you mentioned, just continues on into Palmer. And it does give Raphael the inside this time. So an interesting back and forth as this group is leaving very little margin for error. This is super close racing.
It's something I like to call the Daytona effect as we go into the Goscinny right now. And Guardia's gone a bit too sliding wide there. It's that Daytona effect. You go into turn 1 at Daytona, if you don't get the move done, you have to get it done into turn 2. That's kind of what's happening right now. If you don't get the overtake done at Wilson, you're going to lose out at Palmer. We just saw that there. We saw it to start the race with Pilotman and Miles. So it is something that is starting to happen a bit more. And it's one of those that if you had a few more laps to play with, you could really look at different ways to make that move because everyone is so close together. And look at this field right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or maybe even 7, I count, on this one big arc right now. And they all just trying to go. That looks like not formation flying, Joe. That looks like someone's out of formation.
More of a dogfight, I think you could call it. And coming down into Nelson, so close there between Johansson and Cabal. Somehow with wheels interlocked, they do not touch. And it is going to be Dennis who moves into 11th. Brilliant move. Josephine Becker picks up the pieces he put down. She'll get by Jesus as well. She also now promotes herself to 12th. It seems if you make one mistake, that hurts your momentum greatly at this track.
It's the reverse buy one, get one free, and that's an unfortunate moment there as well. Behind them, Berto Otero trying to get past Mark Milson. He was 17th to start this lap. Really starting to make some moves right now as Berto just trying to make a return back up there. Ballard now going to try and get past Mark, and I think he did not have the best of Murray's, and he didn't spin his pizza 180 degrees, but he certainly did have a little bit of a moment out there, did Milson. He's going to have to go backwards. We are keeping our eyes, wow, we are keeping our eyes on what's happening in the lead battle. Nothing's happening, which is interesting, Joe. No strategic changes at this stage of the race. Miles must be planning something.
I get that feeling as well. We're down to 5 to go. We're past the halfway mark in this race. Watching Otuga at the tail end of this trio. He's the one that has certainly been just kind of waiting, watching, looking to see how this all plays out. So don't count that number 8 out. He's got something up his sleeve as well.
Yeah, we always say of the Skip Barbers, we're usually on a slipstream track, regardless if it's Skip Barbers or not. Third place is usually the best place to be. But this season, we've not seen a lot of third places making moves on these straights. So it's interesting to see what Daniel's doing. And I think it is just a smart game. He really starts to just kick it into that extra gear right at the end of the race. So maybe just waiting for that opportunity as Miles gets on by this time. Crucial? I don't know. We'll wait and see. But that means that if they came across the start line now on the final lap, he would have the lead if they cross the line. That could be vital. But this is the closest Pilotman has been on the back end. Just almost a nose tap there from Otuga. This is getting interesting, and they are going to be 4 to go. That's getting interesting. They're still trying to find the ways of going side by side through the bomb hole. I don't think that's doable.
Well, they made it work, and I think the one that is loving all this fighting farther back is Bomer. He's now gapped them by 2.2 seconds. I wondered if he'd be able to do that. So get another swap up at the front. This time, going to be Pilotman leading to the Riches entry. That finish line is so far down. I wonder if it's almost that you want to be in second place coming off of Murray's so that you could snipe it right at the end. But that's always a dangerous game to play.
I honestly don't think that is the game to play because of how slow Murray's is. You're almost coming to a complete stop for that final corner, and it's perfect for what Murray Walker would be like. So it's just one of those things. Jesus Cabal, another one of those things. Looking at Johansson and Guardia battling, and this is one of those that I think they've decided that, yes, we are going to be in 10th. Miles with the rare overtake in Agostini as well. So this is interesting. Why goes Johansson? There was some rallycross on this track once upon a time, Joe. It's no longer there. And I think Johansson was trying to resurrect it. And he's gone a bit too deep, locked up the brakes. Real good drive there to keep that car safe, and they almost banged wheels.
I think they did. There's just a little bit of touch between them. Cabal to the outside, down through Hamilton. That's a very fast corner. And that forces Jesus to back out. Oh, no, it doesn't. He absolutely sends it up the inside of Augie's. And here comes Josephine Becker. Talk about the 2-for-1 special. I think she got 3 in that process, and Jesus is not out of it. He's still banging wheels with his rivals, and this has gotten way out of hand in the mid-pack.
Yeah, it all started with that mistake. We look at the leaders as well. Ballard then went a bit too hard as well. Some drivers thinking they could just see an opening and went for it. And I think that just cost a few drivers. Ballard now at the back of this, but these are now drivers in their own little battle. Even more banging as well as Milsud just goes into the side. This is very DTM-like. I know this is where TCR UK and British Touring Car goes, but they're not touring cars. They're open wheelers. Banging your wheels like that, it's going to cause a lot of damage, and the person who benefits from this, and it's the first time we've had to say this all season, is Josephine Becker. She's got clear freedom behind her and in front of her.
I think she's trying to utilize it while she can. I'm amazed that all the parts are still on all these cars. We don't even see any wings gone, despite all the contact in that mid-group. Totally unexpected, even though this is Skip Barber, and typically it does get pretty fierce. This is just a bit too much. They'll have to cool it down, or somebody's going to be crying at the end.
Yeah, someone will be crying, and I wonder if Adam Miles at the front has been crying. As let's just see if these drivers make any moves this time. You can see they're all a little bit apprehensive now. They're just bunching up together, which is interesting as we just go on. I was just mentioning about Adam Miles. You can see on the timing tower, he fell down to third. It was actually Otuga making a move. We saw it on just in the picture-in-picture, making a move out of Nelson. I think Adam didn't get the best of runs through Nelson. Otuga took advantage, took that P2 away. And now Sampson has to work on the fact that he's got somebody else behind him. And that's going to be a real interesting development, because what does Daniel now do instead of Adam? And I know Daniel's more passive. I think he'll let Sampson keep the lead instead of swip swapping every time.
Sampson wants to prove to be a strong man here. Nope, he's going to leave the door open and allow Otuga to get through. So now Daniel is making the moves. This is where we asked, is he just waiting patiently to try and execute? Now he's taken 2 spots in essentially 1 lap. Is that a mistake? Are we going to see what we've been talking about, where drivers that are behind are going to easily overtake before the end?
I'll tell you what will be interesting to see if can Sampson get a good run out of Murray's to just have an idea of what this would be. Okay, so he's 2 tenths behind Otuga as they come to the line, and this is the dress rehearsal for the final lap. Let's see how close he'll get to the start-finish line. It is 0.02 as they came across the line. Actually, 0.016 is the official terminology. So 2 tenths will not do it, Joe. And I think that's a dress rehearsal, because there's 2 to go. Daniel and Adam now know what is needed on that penultimate lap, or that final lap. And I tell you what, if Sampson goes a bit too wide like this is going to open everybody up. Adam is nipping at the heels right now.
Before, they were no doubt running at about 98, 99%, not really pushing it completely. Light touch between the nose and the gearbox between Otuga and Pilotman. We jump on board with Adam Miles, who's now going to force a defense from Otuga coming down into Augustini. They'll break into left-hander. He gets the inside of Pilotman, and that's going to give him the inside of Lewis Hamilton, but I don't think that's where you want to be. We'll see whether or not he can complete the pass. He gets close to the nose, but as they break down into Augie's, no, job is not done. Almost trying to get down to that apex first. Adam Miles gets oh so close. Now it's time for the backstretch here, Craig. Who is going to do what?
If that corner, if Augie's was 15 degrees less, I think Miles would have had a run there, but it kept going and he did not have that run. Now you're going to see Otuga go for this. Adam may go for this as well. Meet in the middle. They're going 3 wide down the Bentley straight. And I wonder who's going to be the bravest. 3 wide they go into this. And it is actually Otuga. And Pilotman makes the move. Tap of the brakes as well. Tap of the wheel. And somehow 3 into 1 goes. And Pilotman holds on to this.
Oh, my goodness. Otuga is lucky that Pilotman just gave him the tiniest of touches there. He could have been shunted off into the grass there on the outside of the corner, but now it's onto the main straight to take the white flag. 1 to go. They'll get single file for the first time in a while now, and Pilotman is your leader, but he got a way better exit. Otuga maybe a bit on the wrong foot coming off of Murray's, means Miles has a shot to try and make the overtake. They got to be careful they don't lose touch with Sampson.
Yeah, I think Otuga will realize that, and you've got to see that Miles also got a little bit of a slipstream because Sampson went to the racing line, but the inside does belong to Otuga, and Miles realizes this. He knows that if they need to get this going, they have to just stay on this line and use this mini straight, because it is a mini straight here to really make that move in the timing tower. Raul Guardia getting past Josephine Becker, Sanchez and Hoglar tied together as well. Burke and Martin, they're all 2x2 as well. Going to be a grandstand finish for the final, and they still keep it 2x2 through Palmer.
Incredible stuff. And also, that was intelligent driving from Miles to see the big picture, back out of it so that they don't lose the number 6 up at the front. Meanwhile, it is Noah's Ark coming out of Augustini and his group with Philip Burke on the outside. Last time that worked out for the lead group as we watched them battle, and I think it's looking like it's going to work for Burke this time as well, as he's got the apex away. But we got to go back to the leaders because they're now coming down the back straightaway, and this is, or could be, a crucial moment in this race. Watching with Sanchez, and Martin has lost that group, so he's gotten into trouble. Meanwhile, nearly a touch between Otuga and Pilotman, another touch, and there goes Adam Miles. It is Pilotman who's going to take the cut. He'll get a slowdown penalty. Will it be enough that he loses to those two? As Miles moves into second, Otuga will get in behind him. Pilotman, I need to check and see if he has given that time back yet. No, he still has a black flag hovering over him. He's going to have to give it back, and he starts to here, coming into the corner where it might be easier to defend. He holds ahead as they come onto the main straight. He still has the black flag if that remains as he crosses the line. He'll get a time penalty. This is a dangerous game to play. He starts to give it back, and he crosses, and he holds onto it somehow without the penalty. That is amazing. Sampson timed that to perfection.
I was looking at that as we went around. Gonna have a quick battle here at the end. Josephine Becker, Guardia, and Arturo at the end. They were all trying to find a spot, and Josephine gets the top 10 laps, though, for the lead. How close do you want to make it, Sampson? I counted 2 meters before the finish line that cleared.
Oh my goodness. I think that was a bit of an accident. Yes, I'm sure he was trying to get it to clear before he went, but that he cut it so close was no doubt a little bit of luck on his side. Amazing stuff. Miles and Otuga probably feeling a bit put out that he cut that corner and still managed to take the win, but he was within the rules. So it counts as a win. Pilotman, your victor by 1/10 of a second over Adam Miles. Daniel Otuga finishing in third. Philip Burke will take 4th place as Sanchez will be narrowly ahead of Hoglar for 5th. And then Pablo winding up 6th. Martinez P7, Martin 8th, Bomer 9th, and Josephine Becker in an incredible 3-wide finish to take 10th place.
Yeah, it takes it away from Raul Guardia, who finished in 11th, and Berto Arturo, who finished in 12th. Herman Suarez will be 13th, with Jesus Cabal in 14th, and Mark Milsud in 15th. Then it's Dennis Johansson, after all that banging of wheels, will only be 16th. Ballard will be 17th. Santiago takes 18th. Last man driving on the lead lap. David Kennedy did come back out, but a couple issues out there today. Finishes 8 laps down. Vlado Tito, we saw that crash. Hopefully he's all right. In the real world, that would have been a very dangerous crash, getting a driver over your car, but this is the sim world. We're all safe.
Yeah, there's times that I'm very grateful seeing some of these accidents happen on the sim side and not in the real world, where it looks like we've got Adam Miles ready to chat with us after his P2 today. Adam, we were watching carefully to see whether or not that Sampson had served his penalty, and I can tell you from our view, it looked like it cleared feet before the line. What was going through your head when you saw him cut that corner and then somehow managed to stay ahead?
Um, yeah, I mean, it was obvious he was going to have a slowdown penalty. I thought this is good, but very tactically played, sort of into the final corner, sort of backed me up and forced me to go to the inside to go and avoid him. Basically, I don't like it when drivers try and serve slowdowns sort of on the racing line into slow corners. You're just asking for an accident. So once he'd done that and I dipped out, then yeah, I knew he'd probably still had it. But I mean, he timed it well down the final straight, just a little bit sour.
Yeah, I can understand. You don't want to see it won on a technicality sometimes. Even still, you three were playing some smart games there early on, especially coming on to I think it was the penultimate lap. You and Daniel were fighting into the second corner, and you backed out. Was it because of a fear of pilotmen running away?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to look 2 corners ahead and ask yourself, am I going to be able to hang it around the outside of turn 2? The camber being what it is, the exit I would get, the answer is no. So, or do I stand to gain by doing that? So, yeah, lifted, let Daniel slot back in, and then set up what was probably always going to be a 3-way fight down the Bentley Straight, and didn't get the best of exits, and so but Daniel got alongside Sampson, and I rolled the dice and thought there might be an accident going into that corner, and there was of a sort. So I don't regret too much sort of a positioning of my car on the last lap.
So considering the battle for the championship finds Martin not finishing well today, but having all of those drop points compared to everybody else with zeros, does that force you into going aggressive for these last 2 races to try and catch him?
I don't know. How many drop weeks are we running for the season?
2, I believe. And I think he has drops for both.
Okay. I didn't attend round 1 and round 2. I was abroad, so I've just got to keep putting in strong results. I think generally this season I've been finishing ahead. I had a bad race, I think, at Sebring, turn 1 there. But yeah, I haven't looked at the championship table lately. I think I just need to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm not having bad results generally, so yeah, just keep finishing first or second, and the championship should sort itself out.
Well, I like that approach. Congratulations on a podium, and hopefully we'll see you next time out at Watkins Glen.
Yep, thank you.
That was Adam Miles finishing in second today. Looks like that is going to wrap up our interview. So we, of course, want to give a thank you to the Skip Barber community for bringing us back for another season of coverage. And thank you to the team today, Craig, Christian, and Dougie. Make sure and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a moment. As we mentioned, it is off to the Talladega of road courses. And it's not just Watkins Glen. It is Watkins Glen Classic. No boot, no chicane. This is going to be nuts. That'll be February 26th at 1:15 p.m. Eastern. But we've got more races on the channel, including Grand Prix Legends heading off to Oschersleben in just a couple days. Be sure to check out our other broadcasts that we have listed here. And until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.